Welcome back. This is our second part of the three-part series with Agility.io and Motus Tips. So I have Jordan Wexler, the COO of Agility.io, and we're going to talk about a little more kind of the nitty-gritty of building something.
Great.
So when you're building something, let's say a mobile app, and you're either a startup, and there's probably different circumstances and different things that you should be talking about and thinking about, or an established company, what do you need to be thinking about to build your first app?
Yeah, I mean, it's a loaded question, but a good one. I think that the most important pieces are really that early planning and early adoption of getting users actually involved in the process. So, that can all be done before development begins, which I think is a critical piece a lot of people don't get, that there's an entire world of prototyping and designing wireframes, high fidelity wireframes we call them, using a lot of different softwares today that you can actually have on your mobile app or on your computer and then begin to engage users and get user feedback, because that's everything. It actually makes it a whole lot more cost effective as well to design out wireframes rather than actually doing the hard coding. And then with that feedback, validation, or the change that you need from the users, you can then apply that really quickly and then be able to iterate very fast. So before that, any development begins.
And so the next question is, if I'm a big brand, Nike shoes, and we want to start our first app, or I'm a startup, in one of these companies in accelerators or co-working spaces, give me an idea of how much does it cost to create something that's usable, that can be, hosted in the iOS and Android store, and how long does it take? Maybe a range.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that, of course, that question is broad as well, in the sense that, it all depends on scope. So it's actually a very flexible process, right? There's three core dynamics to building a product: scope, time, and cost. Ideally, you have two that can be flexible, right? One that's fixed. So if you're looking at, a time period where you only have a deadline of 3 months, well, then we have to look at, okay, what is the scope that we can fit within that 3 months?
Sure.
And then how many people do we need to put on it? So that's a fixed time cost. If you have the cost, well, we have this fixed cost of $50,000, then we have to explore collaboratively, all right, well, we can't put that feature in. We have to create a really well designed feature list and then be able to explore together and collaborate with clients or whoever it is. And then, of course, if the scope is fixed, you need to be variable on cost and ideally time. So when looking at it that way, those are the three dynamics that clearly have to be identified. Generally, when you're talking about a MVP, a minimal viable product, for a mobile app with, that will be released to the App Store, you can talk anywhere from 3 months to 6 months to really, 3 months would be a smaller platform, 6 months you're talking about a large one. Design process takes up about at least a month to 6 weeks for all the UX wireframing, and then the development, you can charge it to be anywhere between, 3 months to 4 months to 5 months. Cost-wise, for a small app to get off the ground, probably around $50,000 today to really get something that is valuable.
$50,000 is a considerable amount of money, considering it would be the first app for some of these. I work with a number of mid-size, even to small companies, where $50,000 is beyond their reach, for their first mobile app. Can you build something for, anywhere between $2,000 to $10,000 that is viable and maybe not necessarily, it's your first choice for Agility because you're working with larger clients, but can you typically build something with an in-house company or in the United States?
I have not seen it. Where you're talking about, if you have that budget, that's where you really want to look at how can we design this out in the actual wireframing process. Because you can get a product that you can begin to accumulate user feedback with a prototype that has no hard coding. But if you're at the $10,000 range, you are going to be developing an extremely bare bones, with very little user features in an app. I honestly I've never seen
Is this something that's modular? So let's say you do create something for $10,000 that has some core features. Can you then build up on top of it and say, I want to invest, 2x, 3x into that product now and make it a full scope?
Yeah, platform. Absolutely. I mean, ideally, any great digital platform is modular and scalable, right? You can build on top of these things and you continue to expand features. So that's really where you want that first stage of the feature identification process, where you prioritize different features that you want to see, and then you have different releases. You have V1, V2, V3. But even in that space, I mean, to build an app and actually hard code it for $10,000, it would be extremely difficult. So I would really, because if anything of value, you don't want to shortchange the app without having that.
You guys are a well-established, high-quality product. That you guys make really great, end products. There are ways of, you can kind of put something together, or you can use something as a platform. But I understand, because you guys are working with some major brands. Maybe just to give a little bit of a taste of the third part of this video series, who are the brands that you guys work with? And stay tuned, because we'll talk about a few of those and specific products that you build for them.
Awesome. Thanks a lot.